Hey everybody. So this week's Parsha, Parshat V'Yechi, is the last Parsha in Sefer Bereshit, in the books of Exodus. And a good part of it, a good chunk of it at the very, very beginning, is Yaakov is giving a blessing to every one of his children. He gives them each a blessing, the 12 tribes. And then the Torah narrates that it says, V'yachi Yaakov letzavot et banav, that Jacob completed commanding, talking about his children, blessing them. Some of them he gave reproof to. V'yasaf raglav al mitah, he gathered his feet onto the bed. Vayigva, and he expired, is the little translation of Vayigva, which is a little bit of an odd word, which prompts Rashi to point out that it says, Umita lo ne'emrabo. It doesn't use the word, the Torah doesn't use the word that he died. It said that he expired. And as a result, he quotes the Talmud that says, Yaakov Avinu lo mate. Jacob, our forefather, never died. Jacob never died. He expired. He didn't die. It doesn't use the word die. Now, the problem with this, a very, very obvious problem, is as you continue reading the Parsha, it talks about his funeral. Well, excuse me, if he didn't die, whose funeral was it? Obviously, he died. So what are they getting at? They're getting at the point that it's symbolic, not literal. Of course, he is an individual died. But Yaakov is also called Yisrael, Israel. That's his other name that was given to him. He gives rise to the 12 tribes, which eventually become the Jewish nation. And so Yaakov not dying, yes, as an individual he died, but in terms of his legacy, in terms of his eternity, in terms of what he created and built, that was forever. It's very similar to sometimes, like I just quoted Rashi or Maimonides. We talk about these people and what they contribute and what they do, even though they died 1,000 years ago, still we talk as if they were around. And that's what we mean that Yaakov never died. His eternity, his impact, the effect that he had still continued on. It's the same thing we have, like we have children, we have grandchildren, we have impact on things that extends beyond just the here and the now. And so therefore, in a certain sense, we don't die. You know, sometimes I read obituaries and you'll read about a guy and they'll describe his life and such. And it says that he went to many restaurants, a lot of very fine restaurants, and that he traveled a lot and took many cruises, and he was a great golfer. And you read that and you go, all right, was that your contribution to the world? I mean, I'm glad you had a wonderful life. I'm glad that you enjoyed these restaurants and that you traveled. But what was your impact on other people? Because 30 years after you're gone, no one's going to remember the restaurants you ate at. No one's going to remember the trips you took. No one's going to care about your golf game. And so it's really sad that, did you have an impact? Did you change anyone's life or not? And that's the question that we all have to ask ourselves. What's our legacy going to be? Now, I know we're not all like Yaakov. We're not going to create Yisraels. We're not going to create the Jewish people. But still, we can get the important lesson that the rabbis are telling us over here, that the way to achieve eternity, the way to achieve not dying and just passing on forever and being forgotten about, is by the impact that we have on our world, the impact that we have on other people, the change that we make, the meaningful things that we contribute to the world, to our families, to our society, to the Jewish nation. That's how you get eternity. That's how you have a legacy that lives way beyond whatever number of years we might be given by God on God's green earth, as we say. If it's 120 years, we say, 80 years, whatever it is. The legacy, our eternity, is bound up on the meaningful things that we contribute to this world and to the people who are around us. That's what we need to learn from Yaakov Avinu. No, we're not going to create a Yisrael. We're not going to create a nation. But we can still have a tremendous, significant impact. So our memory, our definition, our legacy of who we are and what we are lives way beyond whatever number of years we've been allotted on this earth. Have a good Shabbat.